Reinvention. After 40, why your second chapter might be your best. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, is this really it? Is this all there is? That moment when you're standing at your kitchen counter, maybe staring at a rejection letter or scrolling through social media, seeing everyone else's highlight reel while you're stuck in what feels like an endless blooper reel of your own making. I want to talk about that moment today. That crossroads where you either surrender to the story you've been told about yourself or you rewrite the entire damn book. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Kamaria Monmouth, a woman whose journey has fundamentally changed how I think about second chances, about timing, and about what's possible when we refuse to let our past define our future. Kamaria isn't just another success story. She's a revolutionary force who has shattered the glass ceiling of expectations placed on Black women over 40. Her transformation from someone facing the stigma of felony convictions to becoming the Public Relations Committee chair for the Houston chapter of the National Black MBA Association isn't just inspiring, it's a radical reimagining of what's possible when resilience meets opportunity. What struck me most about Kamaria wasn't just what she accomplished, but when she accomplished it. In her 40s, that age when society tells Black women we should be settling, accepting, and lowering our expectations, she was just getting started. Let that sink in for a moment. While the world was busy telling her it was too late, she was busy proving the world wrong. I've spent hours reflecting on what makes Kamaria's story so powerful, and I've distilled it into a truth that might just change your life. The timeline you've been sold is a lie. The expiration date on your dreams, fiction. The idea that your mistakes define you, absolute garbage. Here's what's real: you can start over at 40, 50, 60, whenever you decide. Your past is just prologue. When Kamaria faced rejection after rejection because of her legal history, she could have internalized that narrative. Instead, she did something radical. She rejected rejection itself. The world will tell you who you are if you let it, she told me during our interview. I decided to tell the world who I am instead. That's not just a quote, that's a revolution in 17 words. Let's be honest though, starting over is terrifying. It's why most people don't do it. The comfort of familiar disappointment often feels safer than the uncertainty of potential success. It's like that old pair of shoes that hurt your feet, but you keep wearing them because, well, they're broken in. They're your shoes, they're predictable. Your disappointment becomes an old friend that, unlike success, would never dream of abandoning you. But here's what I learned from Kamaria: discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the doorway. Every significant growth in her journey came from stepping directly into what scared her most. When she felt unqualified to lead, she applied for leadership positions. When digital marketing felt overwhelming, she built a multi six figure business using platforms like Stan Store. After 40, when most people believe the tech world belongs exclusively to 20 somethings who learn to code before they learn to drive. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't just believing it will happen. This is strategic discomfort, choosing your hard. As Kamaria puts it on her TikTok channel, level up with Kamaria. Life is hard either way. Staying stuck is hard. Changing is hard. Choose your hard. I love that. Choose your hard. Because here's the truth: the temporary discomfort of growth will always be less painful than the permanent ache of regret. Now, let's talk about rejection for a minute. Because if you're attempting anything worthwhile, rejection isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. It's like buying tickets to a concert, the price of admission to any meaningful endeavor. When Kamaria first began applying for professional positions after her legal troubles, rejection wasn't occasional, it was constant. Each no reinforced the story that her past would forever limit her future. Every closed door seemed to confirm what society had already decided, that her mistakes had disqualified her from a seat at the table. But here's where her genius emerged. She stopped seeing rejection as a wall and started seeing it as a redirect. Every rejection was actually protection, she shared. Those companies that wouldn't hire me, they were doing me a favor. They were clearing the path for me to build something of my own. That perspective shift from rejection is failure to rejection is redirection changed everything. And it can change everything for you too. Think about it. What if the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that fell through? What if all of those weren't failures but redirections? What if the universe was conspiring for you, not against you? That's not spiritual bypassing, that's strategic reframing. And it's powerful. At Oakland County's business workshops for mid career entrepreneurs, many with backgrounds similar to Kamaria's, this reframing is central to their approach. Participants learn to see their non traditional paths not as liabilities, but as unique perspectives that give them competitive advantages in the marketplace. One workshop attendee put it perfectly. I spent 20 years thinking my criminal record was a period at the end of my story. Now I realize it was just a comma, not the end, just a pause before the next chapter. This is especially crucial for us as Black women. Society has so many narratives about when we should peak, how we should behave, what success should look like for us. The radical act is rejecting those narratives entirely. Kamaria didn't just reject them, she rewrote them on her own terms, in her own time. And that brings me to perhaps the most important lesson from her journey. Faithfulness beats timing. We're obsessed with timing in our culture. The right time to start a business, the right time to go back to school, the right time to reinvent yourself. We're like farmers who won't plant because the conditions aren't perfect, forgetting that even in imperfect soil, seeds still grow. But Kamaria's story suggests something different. There is no right time, there is only your time. The question isn't whether you're too old, too inexperienced, or too anything else. The question is whether you'll be faithful to the vision you have for your life, regardless of when that vision comes into focus. Kamaria built her multi six figure business not because the timing was perfect, but because her commitment was unwavering. She faced procrastination and imposter syndrome just like anyone else. The difference wasn't absence of fear, it was presence of faith, faith in herself, faith in her vision, faith in the process. I didn't have all the answers when I started, she admits on her social platforms. I just had the next step. So I took it. Then the next one appeared. So I took that too. That's how transformation happens. Not in one dramatic moment, but in 1,000 faithful steps. And here's the beautiful thing about starting your reinvention after 40: you bring wisdom to the table that your younger self could never possess. You know yourself better. You've seen enough to know what matters and what doesn't. You've collected experiences that give you depth, perspective, and resilience that no 25-year-old, however brilliant, could possibly have. In the Oakland County workshops, they found that entrepreneurs over 40 actually have higher success rates in certain industries precisely because of this wisdom. What looks like a late start is actually perfect timing when you factor in the experience you bring. But let's be real for a moment. This journey isn't easy. When Kamaria decided to reinvent herself, she faced more than external obstacles. She faced the internal critic that lives in all of us, the voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" It's too late. You've made too many mistakes. That voice is loud and it's persistent. It doesn't take vacations, it doesn't call in sick. The difference between those who reinvent successfully and those who remain stuck isn't the absence of that voice, it's the refusal to let that voice have the final word. As Kamaria puts it, the voice of doubt never goes away completely. You just learn to turn up the volume on your faith until it drowns out the doubt. I love that imagery, not silencing the doubt, but amplifying the faith. And that's what I want for each of you listening today. I want you to amplify your faith in yourself until it drowns out every other voice. Because here's what I know for certain after speaking with Kamaria and studying countless stories of midlife reinvention. Your second chapter can be your best chapter. Not despite your age, but because of it. Not despite your past, but because of it. Not despite the rejections, but because of them. Every experience, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, has been preparing you for this moment, for your reinvention, for your renaissance. So, what's holding you back? Is it fear of failure? Remember that failure isn't fatal, it's feedback. Is it concern about what others will think? Remember that other people's opinions are just that, opinions, not facts. Is it doubt about whether you have what it takes? Remember that you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step. Today, I'm asking you to make a decision, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Today, decide that your story isn't over. Decide that your mistakes are not your identity. Decide that rejection is not your destiny. Look at your life right now. What would you change if you believed, truly believed, that it wasn't too late? What would you attempt if you knew that your age, your background, your past failures were actually your greatest assets? I want you to take out your phone right now. Open your notes app. Write down one bold action you'll take this week toward the life you truly want. Maybe it's applying for that position you think you're not qualified for. Maybe it's enrolling in that course you've been eyeing. Maybe it's finally registering that business name you've been sitting on for years. Write it down and then do it. Because the world needs your reinvention. The world needs your second chapter. The world needs the wisdom, the resilience, the perspective that only you, with all your beautiful imperfections and hard won experience, can bring. Kamaria Monmouth didn't just reinvent herself, she created a blueprint for others to follow. And now it's your turn to do the same. Your past does not define your future. Your discomfort is your doorway to growth. And your rejections are simply redirections to something better. These aren't just nice ideas, they're proven principles that have transformed lives, including Kamaria's. And they can transform yours too. The time is now, the person is you, and the world is waiting. Thank you.